If Rush Limbaugh agrees with the president and Newt Gingrich is still saying Newt Gingrich would be a better nominee, Mitt, you've got 99 problems and Bain is one.
As president, I will pursue a very bold policy of change.
But I think what we're really seeing here is general election Mitt.
And the so-called 3 E's.
3 things that he wants to talk about.
Employment.
For this election is all about the unemployment rate.
Mitt Romney promises that his policies would knock down unemployment to 6%.
To 6% or perhaps a little lower.
To 6% or lower.
This might be a little bit of pie in the sky.
No matter who's elected, I bet you unemployment is at 6% in 4 years.
Energy.
An energy strategy.
We're not getting many specifics that takes advantage of our natural gas and oil and coal.
I don't think it's much of a plan, but it is what he's for.
And education.
Millions of our kids are getting a third world education.
If you're going to talk about education,
This is the civil rights issue of our era.
it'd be nice if you had an education record.
The so-called 3 E's. Employment, energy, and education.
It has the benefit of alliteration.
Vague specifics, shall we call them.
The election will be decided in a dozen battleground states.
Today we have new NBC Marist polls.
The president has a narrow lead in 3 of them.
48% is enough to put the president ahead of Romney.
48%
In Florida, Virginia, and Ohio.
is the knife's edge.
The president has been on the attack.
He's saying, well, Mike, 25 years in private sector.
I spent 25 years in the private sector.
A special understanding of how our economy works.
That obviously teaches you something.
He's hoping you don't remember what happened the last time we tried it his way.
Good evening, I'm Martin Bashir in for Lawrence. Tonight, on the campaign trail, President Obama rallied supporters in Iowa, where he pressured Mitt Romney to explain how Bain Capital prepared him for the presidency.
Now, he doesn't really talk about what he did in Massachusetts, but he does talk about being a business guy. Right? He says this gives him a special understanding of what it takes to create jobs and grow the economy. Even if he's unable to offer a single new idea about how to do that, no matter how many times he's asked about it, he says he knows how to do it.
The president then articulated his problem with Mitt Romney's experience at Bain Capital.
There may be value for that kind of expense, but it's not in the White House.
Today, the president's general election opponent opted for revisionism and extreme rhetoric to muddy the waters around his career at Bain Capital. It began this morning on the good ship Fox News, where Romney falsely accused the president of being anti-capitalist.
There's no question but that he's in capitalism. Frankly, the American people understand that the free economy and free enterprise is tough, it's hard work. And when they hear that a business like Bain Capital was successful 80% of the time, and 5% of its investments only went bankrupt, they say, you know, that's a pretty good record. And if all the president wants to do is talk about the failures, why, he's misrepresenting the nature of free enterprise.
That is Mitt the Mendacious at his very best. But now listen to what the president really thinks of firms like Bain Capital. Here he is again tonight in Iowa.
There's an important creative role for it in the free market. Their main goal is to create wealth for themselves and their investors. Now, that's part of the American way. That's fine.
The president doesn't have a problem with Bain Capital. What he does have a problem with is Mitt Romney claiming that being CEO of Bain Capital makes him a job creator when he, of all people, knows full well that isn't what private equity managers do. An important fact that even Rush Limbaugh illustrated no less than twice this week.
Bain Capital didn't go into business to create jobs anyway. That's not what private equity does. Private equity is not there to create jobs. That's not what they do.
Thank you, Rush. Today, the Romney campaign announced that their candidate will campaign with Newt Gingrich supporter Newt Gingrich and Donald Trump on Tuesday at Trump Towers in Las Vegas. Today, Romney received high praise from his former opponent.
Does he tell the truth about you? No.
Right.
But he did what he had to do, and I think he might turn out to make a surprisingly good.
Yeah, but I thought
compared.
You said it well, by the way.
I thought I was a better choice.
Joining me now, Democratic strategist Crystal Ball, correspondent for The Nation, Ari Melba, and Washington Post opinion writer E.J. Dionne. E.J. is also the author of a new book, Our Divided Political Heart, which is in stores now. All three are, of course, MSNBC contributors. Thank you for coming in tonight, all three of you. It's wonderful to have you here. Crystal, the president tonight pressures Mitt Romney to explain how his experience at Bain means that he's a job creator. Where does that leave Mitt Romney?
It's a very tough place, and he has struggled really throughout this campaign to articulate a narrative about himself, either as a business person, a job creator, or his time in Massachusetts that really clicked with the American public. And in fact, the president referenced, if you want to see what Mitt Romney's policies would look like, let's revisit the Bush years. You can also take a look at Romney's own time in Massachusetts. He ran that state very much in the way that he ran Bain Capital. He loaded it up with a lot of debt. And he ended up taking the prestige that he got in that position and moving on, and by the way, killed a bunch of blue-collar jobs in the meantime. So it was a very Bain Capital-esque strategy that he employed there in Massachusetts.
At least he's consistent. Ari, I want you to listen to more of the president's speech. Listen to this.
The challenge we face right now, the challenge we faced for over a decade, is that hard work hasn't led to higher incomes. Bigger profits haven't led to better jobs. And you can't solve that problem if you can't even see that it's a problem.
Ari, isn't he? If you can't acknowledge that problem, how can you resolve it?
That's right, and Mitt Romney has had his take on this, which is sort of challenging the president's credentials on the very nature of what productivity means. But of course, it is true that in the United States, people are working more hours for less pay. The 99%, 1% distribution models that we've been discussing so much over the past few months play into that. And if you are about family values, or you do want people to have time to both make money and live a good life, which is part of what the president's talking about, then ultimately you want people to make more so that they can also have time at home and time with their family. And I think the way you do that, if you look at that from what the president's been arguing, is you have labor supported, so that can try to bring up the bargaining power in the private market, or you have higher minimum wages, which is again something that Romney has come out against.
EJ, Rush Limbaugh is now saying that the purpose of Bain Capital was not to create jobs. Is it now time for Mitt Romney to follow the GOP PR spokesperson, Rush Limbaugh, and accept that Bain Capital was about wealth and not about jobs?
It truly pains me to say this. Rush Limbaugh is absolutely right. And I think, I just wanted to say that. But, I think that Romney...
I can see your pain, buddy.
Yes. I think Romney has gotten himself into a box, and the Obama campaign whole effort now is to sort of bang the nails on that box and keep it shut. Because at the beginning of the campaign, Romney said over and over again that this business experience would help him deal with jobs. Jobs is the issue he wants to be central to the campaign. But A and B don't connect. And it's very clear it's not a